All right, guys, we're going to be talking today about life in the urban cities in the late 18 and early 1900s. By the early 1900s, urbanization was a reality. Who can tell me again what urban means? Raise your hand. What does it mean, Sierra?
The city.
It means city. Guys, I would put that in your notes for NBA 73. Urban means city. You need to know that for your next test. We're going to be talking about how their life was, people that lived there in the early 1900s. Why would people be moving from small farms, people like in Podunk, Alabama, or nowhere, Iowa? Why move to a big city? Give me a reason. If I ask you that on the next test, hey, why would people move, Anna?
Jobs.
All right, one big reason was jobs. What's another reason, Bailey?
More. I know.
More what? Pablo, give me another reason. What?
Farm.
To farm. They're going to move to the city to farm.
No, I know.
Think about that. Are they going to move to the city to farm? No, they're moving off farms for what reason? To get jobs, Sierra?
To get jobs and to like so they can be around everything, so they don't have to like pay money to get shit.
All right, for convenience sake, that might be a reason. What else, Trey?
Goods.
All right, to be closer to new inventions, goods. All right, Mark?
Money.
Money, make more money for their families. All right, so we're going to be going from that angle here. It wasn't just immigrants moving into the cities. It was people moving from all over the United States for these jobs. This is Atlanta, Georgia in 1908. What do you notice? What do you notice, Bailey?
Big buildings.
All right, there's some big buildings. Anything else you notice?
Empty.
100 years ago, Mark?
It's a painting.
It's a what?
Painting.
I know.
It's a painting.
Painting.
Oh, yeah, it's not an actual photograph. Sierra?
There ain't no lines on the road.
Correct. What are the roads, are they paved?
No.
No.
It's just gravel.
You have just a dirt road here. Compared to today's Atlanta, how many of you been to Atlanta? Compared to today, there's what? I mean, are the roads much more crowded?
Yes.
Yeah, it's crazy. You've got horse-drawn wagons still here in 1908, yeah, along with some cars and things mixed in. So the buildings are much taller today. So city life's going to change. Guys, look at this. New York City in the early 1900s. Notice what you see here in this photograph.
Big. A bunch of
Priscilla.
Horses and wagons.
All right, horses and wagons mixed in with most.
Traffic.
Lots of traffic, right? All right, what else do you notice, Bailey?
No road lines.
No, there's no red lights. There's the roads are made out of what?
Gravel.
Concrete.
They're not right. They're not concrete. They're the opposite. Dirt. Okay. Why so many people walking? Notice both sides of the road. Why so many people walking, Colby?
Because they don't have money to buy cars.
All right. A lot of them couldn't even afford a horse and a wagon or a horse and a buggy. So a lot of people walking to and from were immigrants and other poor Americans. All right. Early Chicago skyscraper, 1910. What do you notice compared to today's? What do you notice, Katie? Did you have your hand up? Katie? What did you notice, Sarah?
It's real wide.
It's wide.
And it's
okay.
shorter.
And it's shorter. Why would it be shorter? What did we think about why it might be shorter than today's? Natalie?
Because there was no elevators.
Well, the elevators were there, but what did we go over that was wrong with the elevators?
It took a long time.
Okay, they were
They
slower.
weren't improved.
Right. People
It
were
would be scary.
very afraid of these early elevators. People were very afraid of them in the late 1800s. So these early skyscrapers, they only built them 10, 12 stories high. All right, New York City tenements in the early 1900s. What do you notice, Bailey?
Closed on power lines.
Yeah, those are not power lines. Those are just cables that they would pull them in, put them at their window, and they would pull them in. So they hung their clothes out.
No washer and dryer.
No washer and dryer, of
So
course.
they would have their underwear out?
Oh yes, let those bloomers let them flow in the breeze. Stockings, whatever. What else do you notice, Mark?
Power lines or anywhere in any beach.
Okay, I was looking for power lines here. There may be some, but I don't see them. These
Way
are
up at the top, you can see some little lines barely.
could be some of the apartments, some of these early tenement buildings, these old nasty apartments. Some of them did have power. Others maybe not. So very nasty. Notice this. What do you notice in this alleyway? What's something you see? Zach? Kids playing? Are those kids?
No, they're real.
Those are actually adults in
They're
this
not
one.
being
Kids
a
did
gang
play
or
in alleys, but these are adults. Anything else? Tyler?
They look like homeless people.
There may be some homeless people there. Notice the guy that's got a stick in his hand. Why would I
Not
say
saying
that?
protection.
The guy beside him smoking.
All right, maybe he's worried about getting in a fight. That's good. All right, so they were nasty places to be, these alleys. They could be dangerous. Here's an immigrant area in 1900 in New York. It was very crowded and poor. What do you notice right here on the streets? What are all those?
A bunch of people.
Bunch of people.
Garbage.
All right,
Garbage.
there's garbage. You see a lot of garbage, but notice these carts. Why are all those carts just parked there sitting?
So it's got food and stuff in it.
What are they doing with those food and stuff?
Delivery.
Selling.
Very good, Bailey. They're selling. That's right.
Stuff.
Guys, some of these immigrants were so poor and they couldn't find steady jobs, so they would just sell things to anybody that would buy them. They would get apples, or they might make clothes, socks, whatever they could get. Put it on a cart. Cantaloupe. I don't think they got much cantaloupe. But what?
Watermelon.
All right, this immigrant. It was like a flea market in New York City. That's pretty much what it was. We think of them as flea markets. All right, this immigrant from Italy. Look, notice when she's got her baby. She's got a ladder in her apartment. Does this apartment look safe?
No, it looks scary, like dark.
It's like one room here.
It looks like a basement.
It is a basement apartment. You see the ladder going up. There's a room up here off to the side.
A washroom.
But do you see a bed even?
No.
I
She has
don't
to
in this
sleep on
picture.
the
There
bed.
there
There's
could be
a
one. This is her stove. This is her bathtub. So there you go. All right, these boys playing in an alley. Notice their body language. Look at their body language. They've got their hands right here. They're trying to look tough for the camera. They're immigrant boys, most likely. What are they probably trying to say to other immigrant boys?
I'm
Don't mess with
strong.
us.
Don't
Don't
mess
mess
with me.
with
Don't
me.
come here.
Raise your hand. Maybe don't mess with me. What else might they be trying to say?
Back off.
Back off our area. Yeah, this alleyway is ours. Everybody always asks, were there gangs in the early 1900s? What do you think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beat up people in the alley.
They-
Immigrants.
Immigrants wanted to control their areas. They didn't like other immigrant groups
Kid
messing in
gangs.
their areas. They didn't like them coming around. So even kids like this a lot of times would be very territorial about their areas. You know, stay out of our neighborhood. All right, to show you some more pictures of these immigrant areas. These men have paid 5 cents a week. That's not much, it's a nickel, but guys, there's 6 or 7 of them sharing this apartment together to try to make rent. They cannot afford a nicer place. They're just sleeping in the floor.
Miss Miller,
Yes.
why would people have children if they didn't have a bed for them to sleep on and it was cold and stuff?
You're talking about in New York City?
Yeah.
Well, I guess they wanted kids, and maybe they thought they could make their
What
life
if they-
better. I don't know.
What if they didn't have enough money to care for them?
Well, then they probably should have thought before they had them, I agree, but maybe they got a bad break. Maybe they lost their job. You know, things happen. Guys, why would factory workers, you see this factory worker, he's drunken, he's on the table. Why would he become depressed and go to a bar like this and drink? Why might he do that, Bailey?
To get his depression out.
All right, he has become depressed. Why though? What was happening to them on their jobs and things that might make them depressed, Colby?
The bosses are mistreating them.
All right, their bosses, we talked about that already.
fired.
He might have gotten fired that day. He might have lost his job. That's good. All right, what else might they be depressed about?
They're getting locked in and they're tired of being treated the way they're treated.
All right, maybe he's just tired of his, maybe the hours. He's working 6 and 7, mostly some of them 7 days a week. He's just tired. Here's another, they called them pubs, these bars, a lot of these depressed people would go to. And what's so sad is they would make money, they worked hard all week to make money, and then they would waste it on beer and all this whiskey and stuff. The weekend, look how nasty. Look at her dirt on her face, had his shoes. I mean, these were nasty environments. Who had it the toughest? Wasn't the immigrants necessarily. It was the handicapped. There were no laws 100 years ago for handicapped people that helped them out. There were no if you had mental retardation or something was wrong with you. And I'm not trying. Listen, guys, I'm not trying to be funny. If you had a severe handicap, whether you were physically handicapped, mentally handicapped, whatever, today we have places you can go be helped out.
I've been learning to get better.
This blind guy, what can happen to him? He's on the streets. What's he doing?
Over.
He could, but what's he doing?
Get run over.
Begging.
He's begging for what?
Money.
Money. He's got the cigar box open. Please give me a few coins to live on. That was what handicapped people were reduced to do. And if you couldn't work for yourself, you had to go beg and be at the mercy of people. So this guy, what could happen to him?
They get hit by cars.
He could get run over. He could get stuff in his
He
beat up, stolen. So he's got a problem.